Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review, and today we're going to be replacing the screen on the Pixel 6a. This comes with or without the frame, though I do recommend getting it with the frame because that's what we're going to be doing. Also, the fingerprint scanner doesn't matter, more on that later. So the tools you're going to need are going to be a razor blade, a plastic pick, and some heat. You also need some glue as well as some clamps. So the first thing we're going to do is just heat up the edges. You don't really have to do too much because the adhesive isn't really the best on this one, but you do want to heat up the edges, and then what you're going to do is you're going to get a razor blade in between the frame and the plastic piece, so not touching the glass, and you're going to try to lift up the plastic frame from the phone. I recommend starting at the top or on the right side because the cable will be on the left side. So pretty much what you're going to do is lift that up, and once you get a decent gap, you're going to get the plastic pick and start cutting through the adhesive. You don't want to go too deep because there are some clips that are in here, so you just want to cut through the adhesive on the sides, and then the clips should just kind of come out as you use that pick. So I recommend going through the right side and then the bottom side. Then you'll finish off at the top and the left side, and it should just kind of lift up and over to the left like this. Next, what we're going to do is carefully remove this little metal thing. All it does is just pulls up a little bit. You can use a pick or your fingernail, but I recommend just being careful not to damage anything that's under there. Next thing we're going to do is remove the screen cable, and we're going to carefully do this with the pick, making sure not to damage any of the components that are around this plug. Once the screen is off, we will need to remove this fingerprint scanner. Sometimes you can buy one with a fingerprint scanner and program it, but I never have success with that, so I recommend just keeping the original fingerprint scanner so you don't have to program it. Right now I'm just going to unplug this cable and then carefully lift up with the razor blade on the side right here. There is some adhesive, so you could add some heat if you'd like, but we're not going to remove this entire thing just yet. We're going to remove just this little area, and then we're going to grab the heat gun. And then you can carefully lift this up, but I recommend using a playing card if you have one laying around, something really thin so you can cut through the adhesive. Make sure not to bend this because it is glass and it will break, and then the fingerprint scanner won't work at all. So you'll just carefully lift it up and wiggle it around, and eventually it'll come loose like this. And then we can get the new screen ready, remove all this adhesive, and then we will plug in the cable like this. And as long as you plug in the cable straight and have it sitting straight, it should just line up properly. Next, we're going to plug in the screen, and we will test the phone and the screen to make sure that it works, which it does. At this time, you can use the fingerprint scanner to make sure that you plugged it in properly, and if you did, feel free to continue. We're going to unplug the screen. We're going to set this little cover over the fingerprint scanner, and then the next thing we're going to do is remove any adhesive if you would like. I don't recommend doing this, just making sure that the adhesive is flat, because what we're going to do is we're going to glue it, and you don't want any bumps in that screen area. After that, you want to remove the pieces from the old screen to put them on the new one, like the front camera ring. Though it doesn't entirely matter, I do recommend moving it over and putting it in the frame. Next thing we're going to do is plug in that screen. Then we're going to push in this little metal piece right like this. And then we're going to grab the glue, and we're going to put glue all around the edges, being careful not to get into the front camera or that top loudspeaker, just around them. Then we're going to carefully set the screen down. Make sure that the front camera sits in first, or else that little piece might fly out. Push in the rest of the screen and all the clips. And if there's any excess glue, feel free to clean that off if you'd like, or use some rubbing alcohol to get rid of it right now. Once it dries, you should be able to just take it off with a fingernail, but if you want to get rid of it now, feel free to do that. Next, we're going to put it in clamps. I recommend using 3 on each side, just like I'm doing here. If the clamps are a little bit weak, you might want to use like 4 or 5. The next thing you're going to do is let it sit for 2 hours. You can clean up the edges if there is any more excess glue, but other than that, you're all set. Hopefully this video helped you out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.